Welcome, everyone, to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. Get ready for unedited, unfiltered, and unbiased talks with Polly and Kristin, because life is unedited. Are you ready to experience your highest vibrational life, seek truth, and improve your overall wellness? You're in the right place. With tales of psychic experiences and expansive living, we are covering topics that bring the mystical into our everyday lives. Intrigued? Call us now at 1-800-930-2819. We are guiding callers toward their highest expression of self. You get not one, but two psychic life coaches. Your soul's sacred journey to truth is important to us. No question is too big or too small. Stay tuned. You're about to join in on a wild psychic ride. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures starts now. Morning. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures, a wild psychic ride. I love that. How are you, Polly?
Oh my goodness, I'm so good. How about you?
Good. Now, before we dive into all the meat and potatoes of today, one more time, our phone number, 1-800-930-2819. And seriously, call in about any question, any quandary, anything you might have. We had a couple people ping us on Instagram. No, the answer is you do not need to give us your name. You can be totally anonymous here and just hit us with your question, and we're happy to guide you through anything you might have going on. So no question is too big or too small. 1-800-930-2819. Polly, how are you?
Okay, before we go any farther, can we remove the meat and potato comment?
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Like if we were editing, we'd go back and pull that out.
Oh my gosh. It's such a phrase that I don't even think about it. But if we're going to think about the meaning of that, it's not good.
No, I'm joking about the meat and potato thing. You don't really need to edit it. Okay, well, Kristin and I had like an amazing part of the week. It was bigger than a weekend.
Much bigger. It was huge.
Bigger than a weekend. We had a retreat, a transformative retreat, spiritual retreat in Sedona. And what time did you fly home last night, Kristin?
You know what? We landed 7:45. I landed.
Oh, PM.
So, yeah, PM. So it didn't feel too late. You know, as long as you land and there's like a little bit of a few hours left in the day, it never feels too late. So I had, and it was a really good flight, a little bit of turbulence, but a really good flight, but so much like to think about still. You can't go to Sedona and not have some sort of like big feelings, a transformative experience. Sedona is just magical. If you've never been, highly recommend put that one on the bucket list. It is the coolest place.
Yeah, agreed. And what did we see? We saw a shaman dip her foot in the fire.
Shaman dip her foot in the, yes, we began.
And that was just like a side, like that was just on a side. It wasn't even like a planned experience, dip your foot in the fire. It was just a little, while I'm speaking, let me dip my foot in the fire.
Yes, we did a full-blown like welcome ceremony on Friday late afternoon, early evening. It was a fire ceremony in a teepee, which was super cool. Gathered around, the fire was controlled in the center. And as the shaman was speaking, I don't know, maybe her toes were cold. I mean, my toes were kind of cold. I didn't want to warm them in a fire, but she just kind of dipped her foot out in there. Very nonchalant.
If I had to bet money, I bet she's walked on fire. You know, the thing like walking on fire, walking on coals.
You know what? I would guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll guarantee it, but I do feel strongly. Okay, so what was your biggest psychic thing? Like, did you have like a psychic breakthrough? Like, let's go down that road. Psychic breakthrough, psychic story, psychic experience. What was the weird, cool, good psychic thing?
Two things come to mind right out of the gate. I always feel like it's kind of energetically and taxing, like the whole thing, not taxing. It's a lot. Like everyone's energy is moving, my energy is moving, and I'm always like super tired on that last night. I always sleep really well. When we did our closing ceremony, which was yesterday morning, that was off the charts phenomenal. Like you came in hot with all sorts of empowering energy. The channeled messages were so spot on and just really like some of them truly emotional to watch. Like and I love the last day. I love the last day, the closing ceremony, because you've gotten to know everyone just enough to understand maybe what their trials and tribulations are, and you experience things with them, and then you hang out with them, you have a meal with them, and it's a friendly little chit chat, and you get to know their heart. And then the closing ceremony, when people actually make that leap in the direction of where they're going, it's so fun and rewarding to watch that. So yesterday was huge for me. When you kind of went around and shared some energy and channeled messages, I loved that. It was like the room was vibrating. Everything was so big. I loved it.
Thank you. I love that. Okay, here's what I want to talk about.
Yes. I'm excited.
And this is something that it's not something I want to talk about typically. It's just something that I keep it outside, I keep it over there, I keep it whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel, because it's something that I left with on my mind. It's not like always on my mind, but believe me, it has crept up and I'm like, God, I don't even want it there.
Okay.
Do you know what it's going to be?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is this idea of demons and dark energy and all that stuff, like, attaching to you, guiding you, if you will, impacting you. I don't get it. It's not my life. It's not in my life. It's not of my life. It's never part of my life.
The whole concept of you hit what you aim for, what you water grows, that I think is applicable here. If you give it attention, then it just sucks you in. It becomes more of your focus, and it becomes more of like your daily practice and awareness and all that. And I am like-minded with you. I don't want to deal with that. Maybe it's there. It's not part of my world. It's not part of anything I want to give my attention to. Every once in a while, I'll have a bad dream about it. And always in my dream, let's psychoanalyze this. I have, I'm not going to call it reoccurring, but that's probably by definition what it is, but we're not going to call it that. Every once in a blue moon, I will have a dream about this old house, and it's the same house, and you go up the stairs and you go into this one bedroom, and it's icky and dark and nasty and bad feelings, haunted badly. And then always in my dream, I say a prayer and I'm like calling on God and Jesus, and they swoop in and like the room is cleaned and I leave the house and all is well. But that's where we're at now. It didn't always used to be like that. It used to be the bad dream of the house. And as I kind of progressed in my growth, I was able to like cleanse it and leave it. But that's what I always think about whenever anyone talks about a dark entity. I'm always like, oh, that haunted house.
So interesting, but what a great gift. A gift that you can see your progression.
Mm-hmm.
A dream that shows your progression, your growth.
Yeah.
I love that. I guess my big philosophy on it is like, I don't go to places that I don't feel good at. Like, bars, I always use that as an example. I mean, I've done like psychic fairs where I shut my booth down because somebody I saw them making their way towards me. I did not want to give them a reading.
Really? You just got bad juju?
Well, he was like he was like making the circuit. Mm-hmm. And I was a table or two down. It's like, this isn't happening.
How did you close it? Just put a sign up right in front of you. Closed.
Done. So I guess that's one way that I protect myself, is just like, I don't go there.
Yeah.
But I really strongly believe that we should do something every day that, where we fill ourselves with love and light and see ourselves surrounded by love and light. Mm-hmm. So, have a simple practice.
Like a meditation practice.
Yeah. Like practice. But then beyond that, put your focus. Oh my God, you're a powerful entity that you can create what you want in your life. So pay attention to what you're attaching yourself to.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I didn't make this phrase up. I don't know if I heard it from you or where I heard it from, but live in faith and not fear. Like, perfect example of if something feels bothersome to you and you could go in either direction of viewing it, like always go positive faith in that I'm going to be okay. I am protected, all is well, rather than fear of, oh, this thing's going to take me down. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Because we have, I mean, okay, look at it this way. We have a lot of high vibrational energy. We have a lot of energy that's just neutral,
yeah,
right? That we can turn it into, because there's so much in our world, in our universe, in our life that hasn't taken form,
completely. Yes.
right?
There's potential, so much
There's
potential.
potential. And so we can create whatever we want.
As one does during the new moon.
As one does. Okay, and here's something that I never have nightmares. Like I can't remember the last nightmare I had.
Oh, that's good.
Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up from my nightmare and I'm like, oh my God, I have to problem solve this. I have to recreate how this ends because I didn't like the way it was ending.
So then when you do that, because that's a good tip, if someone does have a nightmare and you wake up and you always wake up disheveled, maybe sweaty, your heart rate, like it does not feel good. And then you try to put yourself back to sleep, but maybe what did you do? You just kind of just as you're awake.
I was thinking about, okay, well, the crane was going to drop something on my head.
Which is not a good way to start the day.
No, and it was so weird, but that was part of it, is something was going to be dropped on me. And so I just thought, okay, how can I shift this? How can I have this crane not drop this on my head?
Yes.
That wasn't exactly what it was, but close enough. And so I just played with it, but it really made me think about, okay, what went on? Why am I having this kind of weird experience?
Right. Did you get a conclusion?
I sure did.
Okay.
I sure did.
And then we had the eclipse.
Yeah, the eclipse is cool. But let's just go back a little bit.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. I just invite everybody to pay attention to, if you pay attention to your gut instinct. You don't have to be like, have the psychic sign up in front of your house, but you do have a gut instinct. You were given that by God.
Yes, everyone has one.
Yeah, and use your gut instinct. Don't second guess it. If something feels wonky, take a step away. Or like Kristin, you did a great job demonstrating, was it Saturday morning? A great job demonstrating how you put up your protection.
Yes, my little force field.
Yeah. Put up, just put up a force field. Like say you have to go into the DMV or you have to go somewhere that's just like, oh God, there's a lot of people in here. Put your force field up.
And I will just share my practice. Okay. First, I want to talk about like what Polly's referencing. At the retreat on Saturday morning, we did a guided meditation, opening our chakras and just kind of a little gentle movement, connecting in. So before I led the meditation, I kind of predicted, all right, everyone's energy is going to be moving and there'll be a lot of stuff kind of floating around. So I did this cleanse, ground, and protect little meditation personally for myself before we went into our group activity. And I just called on my angels, my guides, all the good stuff. And I did like cleanse my energy, ground me into the earth. And then I pulled from the earth like a little cylinder all around myself and just kind of glided it all the way up to protect me. So I wouldn't absorb any energy. I can give out all the positivity, but I'm not taking anything on. After I did that, we led the meditation. And then after the meditation, we kind of scanned each other's energy bodies. So as an example, Polly did that for me. So she came up to me, kind of put her hands up and just tuned into my energy and was scanning my physical body. And then what did you experience, Polly?
It was so funny. It was like it reminded me of like, how they say water off a duck's back. Like my hands were up behind her and it's like they couldn't go any closer. And like, I could just feel like, just everything is just sliding right off of her. And so I said something to her
Yes. And she said exactly that. And I was like, oh my gosh, my little protective force field is still up. And first of all, I was elated that it worked that well. So that was complete validation to me. Like, this is definitely a practice I will continue. And as Polly gave the example, the DMV, for sure, we're putting up force fields before we venture into that wonky joint. But I then had to purposefully drop it. And so I just kind of visualized like a window shade kind of lifting and opening up. And so Polly could get in there. And I love that we have that much control over what we let into our energy body, over what we let into our mind. The
Yes.
control is there. We just have to exercise it.
Yes, we have to believe it. Okay, so let me ask you a question. I love the idea of the energy coming up, like a shield coming up from Earth. I love that. Do you feel like, say you did that and then you had to go drive to the DMV, do you feel like your little shell travels with you, or do you need to redo it before you, I mean, look at, then you're going to have to imagine you're like a little turtle going into the DMV
Right.
with the shell all around you.
Michelangelo in there. I visualize it as just this like kind of hieroglyphic-y, like silvery thing, like just a little force field. Like you can see me in there, but it's like a little fog around me. And it's like I'm in a big straw and it moves with me, just kind of around me and just comes along with me. And what I really feel like is in the meditation, I kind of start at the earth and pull it up through my feet and open up all my chakras and like connect it to the heavens. So it's like a little pipe that I'm in that goes earth, heaven, and then I'm kind of hanging out in the middle. And we just walk around like that.
You know what I think I'm going to do? Because I don't have like one that comes up from the earth. I just do like, it's just around me. I think I'm going to visualize kind of a flamey thing, like a fiery, flamey thing.
Oh, I like that.
Then it can just like transform and burn anything that is not of light.
That's a good one.
Doesn't that sound lovely?
It does.
But far enough away that I'm not getting too hot.
Right. You'll be safe. I mean, you're hot enough, Polly.
I like it. I'm going to give it a go. I think I'm going to give it a go tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so I guess my take-home message of, if anybody's interested in take-home message, is
always
really pay attention to where your thoughts go and like what you do with them. I guess that's another thing, because this is like an intuitive thing that's coming through right now, is, okay, when you get these thoughts, what do you do with them? Don't hold on to them. So imagine like you get these thoughts. How are you letting them go? So don't hold on to them. Like, for example, if I start thinking about walking in a bar and I don't feel good, I am going to imagine myself walking back out of that bar and being in a place like exhaling, breathing out all that bar energy, releasing it until I'm back to square one and I'm set. I have a reset. So if you go to a place that doesn't make you happy, what's your reset? How do you reset, Kristin? How would you reset?
You know what? It's initially it was such a difficult thing for me to catch, because I would be so deep in my thoughts, like, oh my God, the icky thoughts. Like I knew I was off. I knew I was upset. And the awareness had to kick in first. So like step one was be aware of how you feel and recognize, because sometimes I get so like feisty and cranky that I'm so deep into a bad mood that I'm like, oh man, I am in a bad mood by choice. So yes, and that is sometimes a tough pill to swallow, because you realize I just chose this. Like all this stuff is around me, but I just chose this. So then I always just try to choose something better. And even if it's just a teensy bit better, because sometimes I'm in such a cranky mood, I can't go big and loved up and fantastic. I just got to baby step it up. Like, okay, I'm not so crabby, just a little bit better. So I just try to handle it with thoughts of like just a little bit higher vibration, and kind of stair step it up until I feel good and great and fantastic again.
If anybody that's listening wonders if Kristin's really like this all the time, like, I don't think I've ever seen her. I don't think I've ever seen you angry.
Really?
Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
Yeah, like you come, like you're talking about if I'm feeling cranky. Cranky is not a word I might choose if I was feeling really, really ornery.
You know what? I don't think I feel like everyone has a go-to emotion, like if
Yeah, a
they're
steady
low
state.
vibing.
You do. Everybody has a steady state the way they move through the world. Absolutely,
Hmm.
100%. And but from that steady state, it's possible to go up. It's possible to go down. But absolutely, each one of us has a steady state where we move through the world. Mostly, your steady state's pretty high. Like,
Thankfully.
yeah, like your steady state, you don't dip down very often. And then there are other people that their steady states aren't so high. And but the beauty of that is it's always possible to shift your steady state. It's always
Always.
possible to shift it up a notch or two.
Hmm.
So that you're more apt to think about the blessings, what's working, the positive.
Yes,
And
agreed.
that's what it is. That shifting your steady state is key.
Oh, it's how we're going to get through it for sure.
Absolutely. And it'll change your life. We'll just put it that way. It'll
Yes.
change your life.
Hmm.
Yes. So, like for me, my steady state is pretty high, but I think maybe I'm a little feistier than Kristin.
But you're so sweet.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, you know what though? I think right now, you are in more of a hectic chapter in your life than I am.
True,
So
true enough.
we are seeing your feistiness come through a little bit more.
True
Polly's
enough.
moving like behind her. If you're watching us or listening to us, if you're watching, you'll notice that behind Polly, her background has changed a little bit, and that her shelving of cool Zen, high vibey decorum is packed away.
But the thing is I'm like, oh my God, because it's something I've been working on for a bit, like these big life transformations. I've been working on for a bit, so it's kind of exciting. So it's a
It's
little upheaval, but it's exciting.
Oh, it's definitely like a the means to a beautiful end. It's front
Yeah,
end. It's a project that's front end loaded. Like all the heavy stuff is coming up front, and you see the light at the end of the
it's
tunnel.
good. It is good, but I just really invite people listening to think about ask yourself, what do I want to believe in? What do I want to believe in? Do I want to believe in angels? Yes. Do I want to believe in some type of heaven? Yes. Do I believe in a higher power? Yes. Do I just really ask yourself, what do I want to believe
Mhm.
in?
Yeah.
And enjoy where that takes you. If you don't enjoy where that takes you, rethink your beliefs.
Yeah. And maybe even take a moment to get clear on what you believe in,
Yeah,
because it can all
absolutely.
be like, oh, I believe in all good things. That's great. What kind of good things? Like
What are they?
specifically.
And you know what? That's so important. Like people will say, like health is my number one. But you have to clarify health. Is it good health that is your number one? Clarification is huge. Like we don't have to get into the minutia of things, but we do have to clarify. Like we have to really put like words are so powerful.
So powerful. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could go into that. Like words are energy, and you have to be not careful with what you say, because
Yeah.
it does put a certain amount of vibration and force and forward movement out into the world. So even regrouping, like often, this is funny. Okay, I think it was in no, it was our last retreat in the fall. I My catchphrase when I came in was what could go wrong?
I
And
remember that.
do you remember that? Well, then we went on a hike. And I didn't perform as well on the hike. I have a couple scarred battle wounds that'll always be with me. Everyone's got an implanted photo of me spider climbing a
Oh my
mountain
God.
in their mind. But all that to say, I had to reframe my phrase to what can go right. So that is the goal now. Whenever I would typically utter, oh, what could go wrong? Then now I reframe, what could go right?
That's
As
so
if to
true.
put that out in the universe.
And I think probably both of us say a lot, like throughout the day. Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Like, we do that a lot. It just naturally comes. And why not? Like really having that in your vocabulary that you can, that you use without even thinking about. And I guess that's part of it, is really paying attention to what your beliefs are, and because they're there even when you're not thinking about them, right? They slip into your thoughts, they slip into your words, they guide the words you choose. And so really unpack what you believe in. I mean, that's a great exercise, like to write down, I believe blah, blah, blah. I believe that there's good in the world. And why not?
Completely. And that we have so many subconscious or limiting beliefs that just kind of linger with us. And then so many that are just like little things that flit in and out. And again, it goes back to awareness. Like, what am I limiting myself with just by something I believe? Am I saying it all the time? Like, be aware.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay attention to, I love the idea of writing down what you believe.
Oh, completely. I have so many spirals around, like little bitty ones that are just written with like notes of, oh, what did I learn today? And just like write something down important. And then I'll move on to a different spiral, lose that one. And then my favorite is when I find one, I'm like, oh, in my bedside table, I haven't seen this for 6 months. And I go through it and just re-familiarize myself with all the lessons previously. It's so fun.
I do love that. And how many songs and poems and all that stuff, like country songs, are about, I believe, right, with the happy dog,
yes,
country home, whatever. Listen, that dude is materializing the happy dog, the country home, the family.
I mean, just listening to it always brings me back to like bare bones basic. Like, what do I want? I want some wide open space, a dog, a partner to share it with, just some happiness. That's all I want.
Why not? So that's today's message. Just why not? Okay, we have 1 minute before we take our break. I'm hoping that somebody busts through the challenge of giving us a call, because you can ask us whatever you want. We don't
anything
care.
You want. Anything. 1-800-930-2819. Call us with anything you'd like to discuss. We're here for you.
Yes, we are. We are here for you.
We're totally here for you.
We are here for you, and we're here to shine the light, spread the light.
Most definitely. All right, we're going to go to break now. I'm going to start shuffling my tarot cards, and we will see what happens as we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. You're here with Kristin and Polly. If you're just tuning in, we are taking live callers, 1-800-930-2819. You know, Polly, when I said that, I was like, we're taking live callers. We're also taking dead callers. Anyone who wants to call in. We don't discriminate.
Oh my God, I love it. We'll take any high vibrational caller. Hey, we will even talk to the aliens. Why not?
Absolutely. Blue people, come on in. Extraterrestrials, welcome. You know what I mean?
Okay, what do you think of this? Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here, because this is a little bit different. I'm not going to do it right. I mean, I'm going out of the limb right now to say what I'm thinking about doing on a different show. What do you think if I do a channel thing on a show? Yes.
Oh, I would love that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We should do that on the next show.
Okay.
And why not?
I think that would be great. And so for those who don't know, Polly does some really, I'm going to describe it in my own words, and then you come in and clarify. But I think it's really amazing how you just kind of zone out, and it's always in a really happy place. Like when I've seen her do it, we kind of do a meditation. It just feels good. You can feel like you're happy just sitting there in the space that you're in. It feels good. And then she just starts talking, and she'll continue leading us in a meditation and messages come through that feel super applicable and provide insight and guidance. And it's just like a connection with, I don't know, with, I'm not going to say the spirit world, but some sort of high vibrational message is coming through you. And what's the best is sometimes you don't remember what you said always,
Really?
which is funny to me, but also I think indicative of you're a true channel when that's happening. And I love that.
Yeah, it's usually like a collective of high vibration. It just feels like it's a collection of, it's the message of a collective high vibrational. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like just it's not one person that you're channeling. It's like a vibe.
But they're all high vibration there. It's all here to help us.
Oh, I love that.
All here to help us.
You know what I do want to talk about? I want to talk about, speaking of channeling. Okay. So yesterday morning at the retreat, when we were kind of closing things up, and I have seen you do a variety of things in the last 7-8 years. But
some of them you can talk about and some of them you can't.
True that. This was fun. I was sitting by our friend Mary, and she looked at me and she was like, "This is like that movie Ghost." And I totally got her reference there. But the part she was referencing is when you gave an attendee to the retreat a hug, and truly it was her deceased husband coming through you, hugging her.
Yeah.
I was emotional just watching it go down. Like it was wild how that felt. Like I'm doing a really poor job describing it right now because I'm still kind of in awe of what I saw and what I felt. But can you speak about that? Because it was new to me.
It's so intense. And so, okay, when I first started having the ability to channel and having the ability to connect, I don't know, my life just changed. But I guess when I first started having an awareness that included something other than how I was raised.
Okay.
We'll say that. One of the things that I could do is channel, and I would take the kids to school, come home, put my laptop in front of the fireplace. So it'd be like 10 o'clock when I got home, and I'd be like, "Okay, who's there?" And I'd channel. I'd just get the messages, and I'd write them down on a legal pad. But then I decided, okay, this was so new to me. Like none of it made sense to me. Like it was new.
What kind of stuff was coming through? Like just stuff, messages for you personally, or
some for me personally, but a lot for the collective.
Okay.
Like one thing that I remember, and it's such a bizarre, okay, two things. And these are like, they're not going to excite anybody, but two things that I remember that are so bizarre. One was the waterways are changing. Like they were showing me how the waterways, like even like the rivers and everything are changing.
Okay.
And the other was something about salt, but it was like, and I know this is not going to excite anybody. I don't know. I used to get so many weird messages. Okay. Well, you know that I get like weird messages, like where I know things are going to happen.
Yes.
You know, for example, the bridge, like just weird, anyhow. So once again, you know, so anyhow, I was getting weird stuff. But so I went briefly to a spiritualist, the spiritualist, you know, that group.
Uh-huh.
I went to them and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Let's see what this is about. So paid to attend their class and knew nothing about them. So one of the things that they do, if you're going, when they start practicing their work, like to channel, etc., no light can be in the room. And so I would go there was however many of us, they tape all the doors shut. So everything is covered. So there's no light that comes in at all. So you're in a room that if, God forbid, there be a fire, you have everything taped shut. Like you can't get out. So all the windows, all the doors, everything is taped shut. And my first time there, I was like, this is interesting. Okay, so anyhow, so I went there and I was doing a lot of channeling at the time because that was probably one of the first easy, I don't know, it's just like this, it's just easy for me.
Natural.
So yeah. So I went there, they taped everything up, and the teacher was like, his thing was channeling the higher masters. And so he would have, and I think at that point there was only like myself and two other people, him, and then he had a friend that joined him. So it was channeling the higher masters. And I remember sitting on a table and I was ready to channel, I can't remember who it was. And it's the craziest thing. When they come to you, and what I allowed them to do at that time, it felt like the best way I can describe it is like a cat bumping into your arm, and then they go, and then they're in you. And so it's like everything changes, everything shifts. Like you speak, like you're saying their words. It was the weirdest thing. I mean, it feels like they bump you. Like I just so strongly remember that, just like that. So I don't do that anymore. Like I don't allow. You remember I was talking about my guide the other day, one of the first guides I remember?
Yeah.
That used to happen with him. But I don't allow that anymore. It's not how I work. I don't need to do that anymore. And when I first started, I didn't understand like how to manage my energy and the energy.
Yeah, like a boundary where they don't enter you. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I have done on a few occasions is, and it just was meant to be yesterday morning, on a few occasions when somebody has crossed over and they want to give their loved one a hug, they come into me, their energy goes to their loved one. So their loved one feels their hug. And it's very intense. And her husband, it was so intense. Like I was crying while I was hugging her because it wasn't me, it was her husband. It was so intense. And for him to be able to share those messages of how much he loved her while he was hugging her, because he crossed over like 6 months ago or something. It's very intense.
It was wild to watch. I mean, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was just so emotional to see. And I mean, we could feel it. Like we all felt it. It was crazy. Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah. And so, yeah, there's just there's a lot of love for people, right? There is a lot of love for people. And I guess that's the thing. Like, do I want to do that every day? No, I don't. But I guess like when I do retreats or when I do readings or when I do whatever, it's just like, okay, whatever's meant to happen is going to happen. I'm not going to fight it.
So you feel them, like, was it the same case? Like he did a bump and then he came into you?
Yeah, he was just there. He had been with me earlier in the morning before I got there. Cause the message I shared with her before he came through, he was just there. Like he was very strongly there.
And then because he obviously was like, I could hug her forever.
Yeah. And then I just have to be like, okay, I'm stepping away.
Okay.
I'm stepping away. But that is one thing. And I know I mentioned it yesterday, like when I did this before and a little bit yesterday, when they come in, it makes you kind of nauseous.
Yeah.
It upsets your system.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to do that every day.
Yeah. That's wild.
It was. I mean, but what a gift to be able, I mean, seriously, that was a gift.
That right? Is huge. And you could see the peace it brought her, like, because you know, with limited beliefs, you feel like, oh, well, they're dead and gone. I guess I'll see them maybe if I go to heaven too, but not the case. And what I loved is after the emotional hug, and then you stepped away, and I love a good like comedic relief. And we kind of were like laughing, and you're like, okay. And you sent him over to her, like, and you go over there with her from now on. And so it was funny, but also the meaning was received. Like his energy went towards her, and you had a moment, and that was funny.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that, but you're right.
Yeah. Is it like, okay, so Abraham Hicks and Theo and those things, is that the same deal? Like the channeling entity, like?
That's such a good question because I think everybody does it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a good question. I think, okay, Bashar,
Yeah.
okay, I believe he does it like how I was doing it the other
Because
day.
his voice does change. You're right. Yeah, he sounds
Yes,
totally different.
I think Bashar does it where you kind of become a
Mm-hmm.
shell for you're the
Yeah.
speaker. You're the okay. So I think Bashar does it that way. I think the other I don't know. I'm guessing that many people who channel is just like you can also do it in a way where it just feels like, okay, here I am, and it just feels like it's right here and it's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like coming. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yeah.
Right. So it's different. It's just different. It's like a partial merge,
Okay.
but it's not like, okay, I'm in. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. That's so fascinating to me. Do you remember the first time it ever happened to you?
Well, well, yeah, probably it was at my house, but I even wanted to, the reason I put my laptop in front of me is because I wanted to record it because I was like, who can I have with me so that I feel safe? Okay, because now I remember, I didn't feel completely safe. I was by myself. Nobody knew what I was doing. It's kind of like when I go out on these crazy trails by myself and nobody knows where I'm at. Same thing. I was in my living room, but I was like, okay, if I let this entity completely, like if I just like let them in and start channeling, is that safe?
Yeah. Are they ever going to leave?
Or is my husband going to come home and find me?
And then, so,
Completely different.
but you would still be in there with the entity.
Yeah, but the thing is I remember putting like I would put a boundary
Okay.
on how much could happen. So then I went to that science whatever it is, science. God, what is it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Spiritualists. So
Oh,
then
the
I went
spiritualist.
there and I was like, okay, this is going to be a safe environment to learn. So I did and that's where the first time that I was like completely where I really allowed it to come all the way through.
Okay. And
But
were other people there doing the same thing? Like that's what everyone did?
yeah, but the channeling, like we did different things, and the channeling was definitely easier for me than other people.
Yeah.
Like we also did uh the trumpets. You
I
know what
don't
that
know. No.
it's so fun. I didn't know any of this either.
I'm like, I played the trumpet in sixth grade band. Does that count?
Doesn't count.
Okay.
I thought it was like that, but it's not. I ordered one also. So I did. I had to order it online. So this is so funny. They're made out of aluminum and they look kind of like a dunce hat, like a dunce cap.
Like a cone? A cone head? Okay. And
So you haven't heard any of this?
no, this is, I mean, keep going. Okay. So did you wear a dunce hat? A metal dunce hat?
Oh my God.
Like a gnome.
I'm sorry, I should not be laughing. Oh my God, it was so funny. I did not master the dunce cap. I know we're getting close, we've got to pull cards, but okay, I was not like the dunce cap. So what happens is the dunce cap, you go into what they call the cabinet, which is a dark room within the big dark room, and you call the spirits to move the dunce cap. And so there are people, and there was one woman in our group who could get that dunce cap to fly around. Like,
What?
oh, and the other thing that the dunce cap does is it speaks. But here's the thing, you can
Like on Hogwarts, on Harry Potter, they put the sorting hat on and it speaks. But this is different. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but you can't really understand. Like, I was like, I can't really understand what the dunce cap is saying. Like, I'd rather just channel or have a psychic medium because you can't really understand what the dunce cap is saying. I'm not gifted that way that I could understand the garbled sound.
Oh my God, this is fat. We got to do this at the next retreat, a dunce cap night.
I'm not. I'm not the teacher.
Do you still have, it's called a trumpet, right?
Yeah, I got rid of it.
You did.
Well, this will happen. Well, I'll just finish this story on the next show.
Oh my gosh, our first cliffhanger. I'm here for it.
Because this truly, this is, look at, once you start doing the spiritual stuff and you try, like anything, maybe you're a doctor and you try different things, you're like, no, that's not for me. It's the same with spiritual stuff. You try different things and you're like, no, that's not for me. And here, in fact, we're going to go full circle here. You know how in the very beginning we were like, okay, if you go into a bar, it doesn't feel good, you don't go back. That's what happened at this place.
Okay.
I will share with you what happened in 2 weeks from now, but there was something that happened and I was like, oh no, not going back.
Okay.
And I actually heard from my guides, you're not going back. They said something's wrong.
Exit stage left. Okay.
Untape.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So for sure, in 2 weeks, we are going to be revisiting this. We're going to have Polly fill us in on how that all went down with the dunce cap.
Channel. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. And then we're going to go into a channeled message. I love that.
Yeah. I can't believe you didn't know this. I hadn't shared this story with you.
And you think you know someone. No, I do remember we have talked about, like, we were in a group and you mentioned like something in Alaska and there was the taped up room, but we did not go into it like this. There was no speaking of the channels and the dunce.
The dunce cap. There were also jewels involved.
Jewels?
Jewels, yeah. There's so many crazy things.
Oh my God. Okay.
I can't wait to share. But that'll be in 2 weeks. Now we have to share this week's message.
Okay, so we are going to pull a card for a message for the week.
It's just, you know what? I have to say this. I think that there's a reason why all of that is coming back to me, kind of related to some of the stuff that happened last weekend.
Really?
I think it's so interesting.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I do love a good life. I do love a good psychic tale.
I do love a good psychic adventure.
I really do. And we've had some doozies. I do love a good psychic adventure.
Yes. And side note, we're going to go back to Jerome.
Yeah. We have to.
A town in Arizona where wild things happen.
The psychic adventures are
Let's see. Okay. Did you get one?
Yeah.
Okay. I did too. This is,
you always get that one.
I know. You know what? I thought that too.
You do.
Yep, I do. The custodian. Why do I always get this one? And this, I don't even remember and the funny thing is, I don't remember what I said it is last time, but right now I'm feeling like there's a message of trust and to be still. Mm-hmm. So my thought is that everything is on the right path. You have to trust that it's all going in the right direction. Everything is flowing forward as it should be. And there's just being still, being aware. Maybe kick up your meditation practice this week a little bit more. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think it just needs to be a moment of stillness in the morning, if you can, to start your day and just be aware, set some intentions, and move forward, keeping those intentions in mind. You know what I would do? I would start your day with some intentions, like a goal of how do you want to feel today? Or maybe there's something that you're really focused on that you want to bring in, or maybe there's something you're really focused on that you want to release. And set an alarm on your phone. Maybe every few hours it goes off and you revisit that so that it does stay consistent through the day. Because let's be honest, life happens and you can't always be still and be so focused. So let's use these phones to our advantage for once. Set an alarm on there, and then every time it goes off, revisit your intention, take a moment of stillness and gratitude, and then reset and progress with your day. I think that really keeps people on track.
I love that. I do too. I love that. That's a great idea. And I also really love something that you did over the weekend when you were doing the automatic writing, like guiding people through that exercise, and you turned on a song. And you let the song be the timer. When the song was done, you were done. I love that. That was very nice. And that song was lovely, and it set the vibe, set the tone.
Thank you. I do love that song.
I do love that song also. Okay, so I actually have two, but what's interesting,
How did you pull out two? Did two fall out, or did you just feel like two was the
pulled
way to
one
go?
and then I was like, no, I've got to have another one. But
Okay.
also, if I may say, maybe in part you have that custodian energy. Maybe you're the custodian of the show.
I feel like a custodian the way I clean this house, but maybe it's more than that.
Yeah, but you have that custodianship, like at the retreat, you make sure everything is like moving and right. You're the custodian of the energy, like the what is it? The shepherd of the flock.
Oh my gosh.
You're the shepherd of the flock.
Mm-hmm.
You're the shepherd of the show. Okay, we've got 3 minutes. I got to talk fast.
Okay.
My first card that came out was the Hermit, which I love this. It's like you're lighting your own path. That goes back to pay attention to your thoughts and your words, because you, my friend, are lighting your path. You are lighting what you see. I love that. You're illuminating what you see.
Yes, that's power.
Other thing is the Fool. I always resonate with the Fool. I am the Fool. And I love I am the Fool. I mean, why not? I have that foolish energy of just like going out there and almost like not a care in the world, 1 foot up, 1 foot down, right? It's the beginning of the journey.
Yes.
And I still have so much of that, just that the beginning of the journey, and just be like, I'm ready.
You always put, and this is I love, is a comedic spin on things. Like it could be going so not how you planned, and you'll just say something funny, and it just like as if to say, well, what could go right? It's lighthearted. It's out of my control.
I'm ready.
I'm sure it will all work out in the end.
I mean, and the majority of the things turn out fabulous.
Perfect, as they should.
Perfect, if you will. Okay. So, can I just go into a little spin off here? Because we've got less than 2 minutes. So yeah. I am no longer, so we actually have to update our little thing here. I am no longer advertising myself as a life coach. I am now a high vibrational life and spiritual mentor, because
I love that. I love that upgrade.
It's not that I'm doing anything different per se, but a life coach is somebody that asks powerful questions. And you have that, you know everything, like you already have the answers. And it's not how I work. And so I decided to change that. So spiritual mentorship. Okay, Kristin, it's you. Go.
Okay, so you can find me garagepilates.net or on Instagram at garagepilates, all one word. Follow our radio show here on Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic. We're here every other Tuesday-ish, more like the second and fourth Tuesday. Polly can be found at pollywirum.com. That's her website. You can always go in there and send a message. We're going to get more information on her next retreat, which is going to be this fall. It'll be amazing. Dates to be announced shortly. You can follow Polly on Instagram at Polly_Wirum. And we are here for you. Get excited for our next episode where we talk all things channeling, and Polly brings us a very important message.
And get excited about life.
Yes.
I mean, if nothing else, get excited about life. Find something in your life that excites you.
What could go right?
I mean, if nothing else, go get yourself a dunce cap. Give it a go. See what happens.
We're going to leave you with that thought. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures with Kristin and Polly is signing out. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for calling into Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. We are psychic life coaches, Polly and Kristin, taking your calls at 1-800-930-2819 every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. To work with us individually, visit pollywirum.com and garagepilates.net. Follow us on Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic and at Polly_Wirum and at Garage Pilates. We can't wait to share the next episode with you.